we doing then? Will we just pick one off the front page and go for it? Rude, but accurate. um Should we rank the Pokemon starters? Let's have a look at or all the Pokemon starters and their evolutions. Live action merchant? Why? What are you buying? The starters only? Okay. We can do starters only. Pizza toppings. Well, I will let you guys put some tier list ideas in the suggestion box for next time. Pokemon female characters, okay. So Poke Waifus. Oh, that one is literally just called Poke Waifu. That's funny. Like, do we just go into this and say all children, and that's where they rank? We'll take a look at it, but if I have to create a tier that just says child, then no. Pokemon rival rankings. Hop F. How F plus. Which is technically a better grade. I want to say technically a better grade. Put some music on the screen. Okay. Yeah, see, usually this would be the usually this would be gameplay, so there wouldn't be anything. That should do it. Rivals sounds good. Okay. Right then. So we have S, A, B, D, F. Okay. Okay, they are in no particular order, it would seem. So... let's see. How are we going to judge this? Characterization, role in the story, and... characterization, role in the story, and... how much they pushed you, I guess? So let's just get things out of the way. Right? Can we all agree on that just to start? Oh, hold on. Isn't there a button that I can... presentation mode. There we are. There's so many ads. There we go. That's the screen we're looking for. Design should influence at least a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay. They still stay where they are. Yeah. Yeah, basically. Okay. Then maybe I can also just blow it up a little bit. Is the music yeah, is the music okay for everyone else, or should I higher it up, lower it back down? I mean, it's on the same settings as the intermission screen. So, seems fine to you? Okay, cool. Cool, cool. Alright, glad to hear it. Bianca! From Black and White and Black and White 2. I enjoy Bianca. I think she's a very good I think she's got a very good character like arc in Black at the very least. Because she was fun, and her whole character arc is like the Pokemon world just accepts that once a professor hands you your Pokemon, off you go traveling the world. And her dad is like, yeah, no, she knows nothing of the world. Why should I let her go traveling all by herself? Why would... That seems very irresponsible. Now, he's very overprotective about it, and the mom is, you know, they're children. They should go and see the world and grow as people and blah, blah, blah. But she does really come into her own. She's very dizzy and very airheaded and basically destroys your bedroom at the start of the game. She's Mommy Cynthia. No, she's not. Where did you get that? we are both her parents are in that game. And then in Black and White 2, they give her a pair of glasses, and the you know, is cuter for it. So I'm gonna give her. I think she's a B for Bianca. B for Bianca. Sharon is like yeah. So it like in Black and White 2, she becomes like the professor's assistant. So that's the, you know, her path as a trainer. You sort of see it grow over the course of those games. Sharon, like, I really like Sharon as well. I like it. I like how he's so very like matter of fact about Pokemon training, and that he ends up like becoming a gym leader in Black and White 2. He's definitely the stronger of your two rivals in Black and White. He's the one that picks the type advantage, where Bianca picks the type disadvantage. A trend that would continue from her, unfortunately. When was the last time a rival actually picked the type you're weak against, right? But I don't... But I still think like he's very much on par with Bianca. I don't think he's better. I I just don't know if he's a higher B or a lower B than Bianca. I might just put him lower, and we might revisit that later. Because I started a replay of Black recently, and I haven't really got very far just because other things have come up. So, Bede from Sword and Shield. I think he's a great rival. He's the first sort of F you, I'm the best. You know, I'll do what it takes to accomplish my goals. He's the first rival we've had of that ilk since Silver. Also, I'm just getting this out of the way now. Silver, S for Silver. We're just getting that out of the way now. But like, ever since Silver, the rival was always your best friend, and it was a healthy competition to be the very best. Like, no one ever was. And then Bede came along and just like, no. F you and your Pokemon too. And then, I suppose, seeing his character fall off a cliff after the whole monument destruction thing, and then unwillingly becoming Pearl's understudy and later becoming the fairy type gym leader in her place. It's a nice little character arc for him over the course of that like 60-hour game or whatever. Bede was at least, yeah. So I think I'm gonna give him an A. I'm gonna give Bede an A. He was one of the highlights of Sword and Shield for me. Alright, so oh god. Alright, I do not remember this lad's name. That is how underwhelming he is as a rival in X and Y. In X and Y, you get 3 rivals. Alright, I'm just gonna pair them off here, right? Because it's these two. This guy is also like, I want to put him in F tier, but I don't hate him as much as these. No, I do. No. Yeah, no, he's completely ineffectual. Tierno is completely ineffectual. His whole thing is he wants to dance. He wants, you know, and that's fine, but he doesn't really have much personality beyond that. Ginger here, whose name I don't remember, is also just kinda meh as a rival or a protagonist. Sorry, you get 4 fucking rivals in X and Y. I'm sorry, I forgot about Shauna. And then of course, you know, the female protagonist, presuming you pick the male one. So this is like the Triforce of suck. Shauna at least has personality compared to these two. So I might just give Shauna a D. Do not lewd that statement, chat. Trevor, thank you. Yeah, Trevor is not great. So I'm gonna... yeah. No. Well... yeah, no, that's... I think that's fair. Now, Y, or Yvette, or Yvonne, or whatever you want to call her. Or Serena, if you want to go with the anime name. She's the actual rival of the game, right? These three try to be the best friends and whatever. But your rival character in X and Y is one of my favorites. And it's not because of anything they do specifically, it's because you're always one step ahead of them in the game. I don't mean that to sound weird, but where I'm coming from on this is in Red and Blue, right? Blue was, or Green, or if you prefer the Japanese version, he was always one step ahead of you, right? He always got to the gyms first. He always, had better Pokemon than you. And he was, every time you would go up against him, you'd win, but there was always this nagging feeling that he was beating you to the punch on everything. Your player character is that for the actual rival of X and Y. Like, they grew up, their mother is like a Pokemon racer. She grew up studying Pokemon. She knows the ins and outs. She's the one who presuming you picked the male character, right? She's the one who teaches you to throw Pokeballs. She's the one who helps you get your first starter, find your feet because you've moved into this new town. Every time he comes close to, beating you at something, you punch her back down. And it's kind of this inverse Red and Blue scenario. But she's also still losing all the Pokemon battles. And it's like, oh, you kind of end up feeling sorry for her. And you're like, oh no, I'm the blue in this situation. So, but outside of that, and I really do like her design. I think she's one of the better female designs. Outside of that, I couldn't tell you a thing about her. She definitely has a lot more personality than this lot, but I still think as a rival, she is like a high D. Now, Wally. Not Wallace. Wallace is the gym leader, the very flamboyant, gay gym leader. So not Wallace, but Wally. Wally is also S tier, and I don't think that can be disputed. Wally becomes Wally is the rival. Well, he's the extra rival from the Generation 3 games. And you come across him as a sick child. And like he's got anime sickness, right? And meeting you and seeing you as a Pokemon trainer because you get him out of some shenanigans with like Team Magma or Plasma or whatever. And that inspires him to go on and be a Pokemon trainer, and he gets super strong. Like, and then in the Generation 3 remakes, they gave him like the best theme song like ever. Like, can I I'll probably get claimed for this, but I don't care. Like Wally's theme alone is fucking amazing. Hold on. Let me just turn my music off here. Like, right, so like you finally meet this guy again after going so far through the game. I actually think he's like, yeah, you beat him in Victory Road. He's not quite champion, but like you don't see him again until Victory Road, and suddenly this plays.
Meet my
yeah, of course I got an ad. Of course, ruin my dramatic tension, you prick. Unskippable as well. Rude. I should have, but okay. So yeah, so he's the sick kid. You rescue him, he gets inspired. You don't see him for 60 hours. And then he turns up and suddenly. And you're just like, oh! Oh, he came to play. Oh, he came to play. It's such a swelling, triumphant theme tune. Because he's on his journey. He's becoming he's growing into himself. He's overcoming his illness that has held him back. And it's like, oh my god, this kid is awesome. Seeing him more through the game would have been great too, or at least hearing about him. Yeah, I think a bit of foreshadowing would have been cool. I just knocked that off. I think a bit of foreshadowing would have been really fun, but there is something about the element of surprise of just being struck with that and having to go, oh, I am not prepared for this. So yeah, Wally is he's amazing. Is Zinnia on this list? I don't think she is, because she is a new character for the Omega and Alpha games, who I think also got a really cool theme tune. Yeah. Zinnia's design, though, my absolute favorite. Absolute favorite. It's such a good design. She got Phoenix Wright music for some reason. And I'm not against it. Anyway, go listen to it. It's phenomenal. Anyway, where were we? Okay. Then, speaking of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, that was super fun. Oh, it's such a good theme. Speaking of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we have Sapphire. And she is the Pokemon professor's daughter, and that is her character. Like, that is her character. I never... Like, she's better. I think she's a better rival character than Serena or Shauna, but she doesn't come close to Bianca, Charon, or Bede. So I think she's a solid C. You know, no, I know the internet likes to give her the boobage, but she's still a C. Cup. What? Yeah, no, but seriously, I like she's fine as a character. In the oh yeah, everybody gets better character in the manga. The Pokemon Adventures manga, or Pokemon Special for the Japanese version, is the reason I name half of these characters the way I do, because they just went, you're named after a game, you're named after a game, you're named after a game. And then they got to Black and White 2 and they went, well, we can call the main characters Black and White, but what do we do about Black and White 2? And, well, God bless them, they found a way. Black 2 and White 2. Needless to say, when that manga got translated, they became Blake and Whitney. Because, yeah. Not the Whitney with the milk tank, though. Different Whitney. Although, that character is called Rosa in other media, so, go figure. The manga stuff is just great. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah, she is literally feral in the manga. She is like a Tarzan Icto from Digimon Cave Woman. She is literally feral. But everybody gets better character in the manga. Giga Rosa. Yeah, Giga Rosa in a number of ways, Blunter. Indeed. So, I'm going to Encino Child. Yes. Unfortunately, I only read until the end of Gen 3. Oh, no, you should carry on. Gen 4, 5, 6, 7. I enjoy the X and Y manga is really good. The black and white manga is my favorite, much like the game, so I wonder what maybe that's bias. Speaking of bias, Marnie. Sorry, not sorry. um if you were here for my Sword and Shield playthrough, you know Marnie was like the highlight of that playthrough for me. Um, you know, because she was so just different as a character. Like the punk rock aesthetic really does it. Um, Morpeko is just adorable. And I don't know, she just had a bit like I we were talking about it earlier with the Invader Lum stuff, but she has that British bite to her, even though and I even though like she also stays in her hotel room and tries practicing how to smile like she's the fucking T800, you know? Um, edgy in public and then I should probably not be as edgy. Yeah, it's just she's just fun, and then taking over the Spike Muth gym is a natural progression of that character and um yeah, no, I enjoy Marnie a lot. You totally didn't take inspiration from the haircut. No, totally didn't. How dare you make such blasphemous claims? Okay, speaking of edgy, we are now on like one of the two biggest edge lords ever. And this is Hugh. He is the rival from Black and White 2. Color, hue. You see what they did there? Oh boy, I don't know how to rank Hugh. Um, so Hugh's whole thing is Team Plasma stole his sister's purloin, and he's on a mission to get it back. Hugh also has a umpteen amount of anger management issues. So every time he sees Team Plasma, we get the iconic line of, "You're gonna feel my rage." And it's just like, lad, chill out. Chill the fuck out. I don't know how I I don't like Hugh. I don't. But I don't think he belongs down here. I think maybe he's on the same tier as Bianca and Sharon, if not a high C. But I like these two more than I like Hugh. I think I'm gonna, yeah, maybe a high C. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Then we get the other edgelord, Gladion. And uh yeah, he's basically a hobo because his mother is a psychopath and he's run away from home. And Gladion, he's actually quite strong though. Gladion is really supposed to be your difficulty check when you meet him in the game. Like he's your oh, have you done faffing about yet and actually started raising your Pokemon check? But I really do love the story of him and Lily and Lusamine. Uh, and I have to put a caveat on this: in Sun and Moon only. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon destroy this character. They destroy that family's character building. Until yeah, thank you, Reiko. Yeah, yeah. So if I was to base it on the Ultra games, he'd be like here. But basing it on the non-Ultra Sun and Moon games, he's like here, to be honest. Um like yeah, him, Lily, Lusamine, they go through hell in Sun and Moon. And then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were cowards. They were cowards. Um so then we get to Chase, and yeah, I don't like Chase. Like he's a better rival than these four losers, but actually, you know what? Maybe no. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. He's inoffensive. I don't like him. He is a lesser blue or green. You know, he's an E. Technically, he's an E. Yeah, and I don't want to have to make that tier. You know, but yeah, he's technically an E. He is like between these. Like he's just inoffensive. My problem really my problem really stems from the fact that he's the Gary Oak of the game. Kinda. Like he's not related to Professor Oak, but he's filling that role of blue or green. But red and blue exist in the Let's Go games, even though the story you're playing out in the Let's Go games is exactly the same story that they went through in their original red and blue games. So either history is repeating itself in a very specific manner, and how did Giovanni get out of jail and restart Team Rocket and become the Earth gym leader again? Or the story of red and blue in that universe is completely different and never happened the way we played it. Either way, I don't like it. I feel like Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, you know, if they were just going to be modern red and blue remakes, we shouldn't have got quasi red and quasi green out of this. Um, you know, or those characters just shouldn't have turned up. Fuck nostalgia. You know? Um yeah, but otherwise, like Chase's problems are they're not caused by him. They are caused by the design structure of let's of the let's of the Let's Go storytelling. And that's as best as I can put it. Um Barry. Oh god. Trying to remember my Brilliant Diamond playthrough. I B for Barry? I Barry's another one I don't know how I feel. I don't really know how I don't have any nostalgic cherished memories for Barry from the original Diamond and Pearl game, which kind of makes it even sadder that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were literally one-to-one copies of Diamond and Pearl's originally. So like so it didn't really give them a chance to do anything new with the characters, which is kind of why, as much as I want black and white remakes, I am very skeptical of them based on how Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl played out. You know, if they're just one-to-one remakes, I'd be like, I'll play them, but I would like them to try and do something different, like with Heart Gold and Soul Silver or Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, that those weren't just one-to-one remakes of Gold, Silver, and Crystal and Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Um, yeah, the hyperactiveness kind does bother me, and it really took me out of the game when he turned up because I was like, "Oh God, this guy again." You know, he was more of an annoyance than an obstacle that had to be overcome. So, yeah, I'm gonna give him a low C. Now we have Gary Oak, Blue Oak, Green Oak, Keto, whatever you want to call him. Um, all right. So I have to not let nostalgia pick this one, right? Because he's the first protagonist, the first antagonist, the first rival, the we just talked about with Serena, how or why, where you know he's always one step ahead of you. He's getting to the gyms before you. In various manga, or even the anime, he's super rich. He travels with cheerleaders. He gets all the best stuff. He's he is a veritable mountain of an antagonist for your protagonist to conquer. Um, you can allegedly kill one of his Pokemon, although I think the creators have come out and disproved or denied that theory. um, so he's always a step ahead of you. As you're reaching the gym, he's coming out. He's always bragging. He's in your face. He picks the type that's strongest against you. He wants you in the ground. And then he ends up taking over the Earth Gym after Giovanni is like banished into hiding. Um, but I don't think he's as good a character as Bede or even Gladion. Honestly, I don't even think he's as good a character as Bianca or Sharon. I think he's better than Hugh. So I would put him there. B for blue. And then N. O N. O N. N is phenomenal, to be honest. Um, you know, yeah, he isn't much of a character, but he is, but at least he is a rival. Yeah, no, exactly, Reiko. N's story, I love his design, first of all. It's very understated. Um, he does look like he could be Wally's cousin, though. um, like his whole story with Team Plasma and how he's basically a man child, like in the most like not in a toxic sense, but more in a he's been so sheltered and brainwashed by Team Plasma and particularly Getsus that you can't help but feel for the guy. Um, you know, he's a rival to your protagonist nature as well. He's he's like also the protagonist of his own story and is on par with you in terms of like the legendary dragons and, you know, truth and ideals. He's the ideal to your truth, or if you play the other game, he's the truth to your ideals. So, and they do a really good job with him. I wish, you can also technically go on a date with him, always a plus. Um, and he is super strong, you know, well, later on in the game anyway. Early on, it's like, how did you beat me? And on the other side of the brainwashing and all the kind of stuff he does, yeah, on the other side of the brainwashing, the world does go around forcing dangerous animals to fight. Yeah. And as we learned from Arceus, this has been done for generations. In a certain region, they turn them into kaijus and make them fight in an arena surrounded by people. True. Like, how has nobody in Galar died from Gigantamaxing? Or even lesser Dynamaxing? Um, I know there's force fields around the seating area, but still, all it takes is an errant thunderbolt to fry the system for those force fields. But getting off track. N is, yeah, toppest of top tier. And that would be my list. Uh Now it's only up to Gen 8, right? It doesn't have Gen 9 on it. Um so where would I put Nemona? Now rank all your viewers. You're all S tier, Blunter. You're all S tier. Um where would I put Nemona? Ooh. Like, she is your only rival in the game, which I appreciate. Like, the other lad, is a traveling companion. He's not a Y for Yandere. um, Arlen, he's a traveling companion. He's not a rival. Um, Penny joins the crew far too late in the game to be a rival. Nemona's the one that's there when you pick your Pokemon. And she gets, and she picks one as well. Honestly, guys, Namone. Yeah, that was bad. Namone. Get her away from me. Why is she hunting me down? I see that bloodlust in her eyes. 20 years of prison. Scaling walls to watch you. Yeah. She was. Oh, yeah. She just pretended like she wasn't watching that whole battle. The battle ended and she climbed back down and I just got here. I heard you became the champion. I don't know. I don't know. I like her. Because I kind of appreciate she's the only other character in the game that isn't just like, I have nothing to talk about than Pokemon. No, I know. She's a bit battle crazy, I know. Right? But the game makes her out to basically be the player character, right? In terms of strength. And there's a part of me there's a part of me that feels like Nimona is kind of self-aware. Like she knows she's in a video game filled with idiots. And then the player character comes along and it's like, oh, finally a challenge. Um, and I mean that. I truly mean that. Like, if you look at Gita's team, all Gita has to do is switch around one or two of her plays, and her team is insane. But no, she sends out the samurai poniard like far too early, and the glimmer thing far too late. It's her team is actually incredible if she was programmed to play it the right way. And it just makes like she's meant to be like like Gita is the champion you have to beat to become like the champion of the region yourself. And she's like the weakest champion fight ever. Like we all remember how much of a panic attack I went into fighting what's his name in Arceus, because they gave him Cynthia's theme and he basically played like Cynthia. And that was after coming off of Cynthia like bulldozing us into the ground at the end of the Brilliant Diamond playthrough. Gita is a piss poor champion. And I always love that like notion that I think Nimona is kind of self-aware and knows she's in a video game filled with idiots. Volo, yes, thank you. Volo was fantastic, it's a shame he's not on the list. Oh, Gita is terribly like she's a terrible champion. And it's why I originally thought, because Gita was also kind of sus, right? It always felt like there was something more to the character and she was going to turn out to be like a big bad or something. Now we have the trailers for the new DLC and it doesn't look like there's anything regarding her to it. So yeah, she feels like a Chairman Rose character and the video game goes, no. And she doesn't feature in the DLC at all. There's a character that looks incredibly similar to her. Uh Carmine, I think her name is. But there was always something about Gita where I feel like, did you throw the battle? Like, is this a lull the player character into a false sense of security thing? But just no, they don't do anything. She doesn't like her main Pokemon, the Glimmer thing. You can only catch that in Area 0. And she doesn't even pop up there at the end or anything. It's like they were sowing the seeds for something and then changed their minds midway through, but forgot to scrub out the parts of the game that make her feel a bit more suspicious than she's supposed to be. It's a fucking mystery. So I do hope, like, I don't have enough faith in the Pokemon Company to do this, but I kind of hope they're playing the long con and she does pop up at the end of like the second DLC or something. Because otherwise, like, there's a waste of character potential that they were clearly setting up and allowing the player to read into, that they just went, nah, we're bored now. The flower ball sack evolves into it. Yeah. So, yeah, so there's our tier list. I'll download that later and stick it into the Discord, but I think that's where we'll finish up for today.